Get ready for one of the wildest detailing videos you've ever seen. Today I'll be working on not one, but two vehicles that have been abandoned for decades, attempting to get them cleaned up and looking as good as possible before the new owners start on lengthy restoration projects. The first is a 1978 Ford Bronco that's been sitting out in the bush for the last 20 years. It's covered in moss and lichen and has piles of spider nests inside of it. The second is a super rare 1986 Subaru XT Turbo that's been sitting in a small town under some spruce trees, forgotten about for over a decade. Both vehicles are incredibly dirty inside and out and need an enormous amount of work. The transformations they make are truly incredible and something you do not want to miss. Here's where it was sitting for the last 2 decades as it literally became one with its environment until a new owner came along and bought it to begin the lengthy restoration process. A few days later, and he brought it out to my studio where we quickly got it unstrapped from the trailer and rolled inside, though it did take a little extra help from my quad to get it positioned properly over the drain pit. Okay guys, well as I start work on the Bronco, I'm going ahead and spraying on some of my all-purpose cleaner diluted at 4:1, which is heavy strength, to soften and help make spraying off all this moss a little bit easier. But as I get started with the pressure washer, it's pretty clear it's very stuck on, and it's just going to be a matter of patience and attention to detail today to make sure that I get it all removed. Starting on the back, and one thing I thought was pretty cool is that the Bronco still has a parking sticker from 1988 from the University of Saskatchewan on the back window. But what's not cool is what happened to the owner right after he bought the Bronco and was loading it up onto his trailer. I guess his finger got caught under the winch cable somehow, and he actually lost the tip of it in the process, which is extremely unfortunate and is going to affect the timeline in which he can start on the restoration process. Moving around the Bronco, and I have to say that at this point things are going well, and I'm happy to see that the pressure washer is able to cut through everything that's bonded to the paint. But as you can see, there's a ton of rust on the body, which makes a lot of sense considering moss likes a moist environment, and where there's moisture you'll find rust. Now with the hood being as bad as it is, I decided to go the aggressive route here and use degreaser on it instead, so I'll let that sit for a minute or two so it can really penetrate the moss and fungus, and we'll then get to work blasting it all off, which is insanely satisfying. Okay, moving up to the roof now, and again I'm using degreaser here, but for those of you who are wondering why I didn't start up here, well, it's simply because I wanted to preserve the rest of the shots that you've already seen. But can we take a minute here to appreciate how incredibly crazy these colors are as the degreaser starts to do its job? That's truly gross, but at the same time is so satisfying getting to see it all get blasted off. So if you guys are enjoying this video so far, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button, as it really helps the channel out and lets me know that you guys are enjoying the videos. Now, of course, opportunities like this don't come along that often, so I had to have a little bit of fun today. But for the little bit of stuff you can see that the pressure washer didn't quite get removed, I'll plan to use the steamer on that a little bit later on to get it finished off. Time to tackle the door jambs now, where all the spider nests are, or at least what looked to be spider nests at first glance. Once I got them sprayed off, I thought they might actually have been moth cocoons instead, but I'm definitely no expert on this stuff, so it's either one or the other, but disgusting either way, so I'm very thankful that I can use the pressure washer to make quick work of it, and that I don't actually have to touch it. Okay guys, it's time to get this dirty old engine bay cleaned up a bit, but knowing the owner has plans for a full-on restore of every inch of the vehicle, I'm not going to go crazy in here, or anywhere on the vehicle for that matter, because everything is going to have to get ripped out anyways, and I'm sure a lot of things will simply be replaced. But I'll still spend a few minutes and at least clean up the mess with the usual process of degreaser, agitation, and a quick rinse, which I typically don't use the pressure washer for, but considering this engine hasn't run for 20 years, and likely won't be for a while longer yet, there's no risk of damaging anything more than what it already might be after sitting in a very wet environment for 20 years. Starting inside now, and before I can get the front seat removed, I need to quickly suck up this giant mouse nest with the shop vac so it doesn't end up all over my floor. Well, as you can imagine, with the front seat being one whole unit, it's quite a challenge to get it removed as it was very heavy, but once I've got it out, I can see that the vinyl floor in here is in terrible shape, as is the back seat, so I'll start with the vacuum and get all the mouse mess sucked up before removing the vinyl. Okay, well, given the shape of this vinyl, I'm simply just removing it, and I'm not going to be putting it back inside the Bronco today because replacement is really the only option here since it's been ripped to shreds over the years. But with it out, we can see that sitting in a wet environment in the bush for 2 decades has caused a lot of rust to eat away at the floorboards of the Bronco. So seeing this, and it's clear the owner has a massive job ahead of him if he wants to get this vehicle fully restored. Now at some point in the vehicle's history, someone put this seat cover on the front seat, but it's garbage at this point and needs to be removed so that I can clean the vinyl underneath. Okay, with the vacuuming done now, I'll get started on cleaning the interior with some of my all-purpose cleaner diluted 10:1 and the steamer, which you definitely have to be extremely careful with on older plastics as some of them don't like heat and can easily be damaged, so it's important to be very aware of that and work quickly. getting these filthy sun visors cleaned now, and I was a little surprised to learn that Ford only sold just under 78,000 of the 1978 Bronco, but this second generation model did see quite a few changes from the previous version, as it got a whole foot longer, 4 inches taller, and over 1,000 pounds heavier. Either way though, if the owner gets this vehicle restored, it's going to be a pretty sweet ride. Okay, well, it might seem pointless on a vehicle like this, but I'm going to go ahead and apply some ceramic spray coating to the areas where the paint is in decent shape to at least give it a little bit more shine and make it look as good as possible when the owner picks it up. Second last step here is to use some of my correcting compound and a microfiber cutting pad to polish up these really filthy chrome bumpers, and after making a couple of passes over them, the chrome is looking nearly brand new again. Now the guy you see here in the green sweater, that's Dean, and this is his car and his yard. The other two guys are buying the car from him today. I'll have more on that later in the video, but once we get the path cleared in front of the car, we can get a tow rope hooked up and get this car out. Of course, things don't always go as planned, and the car was going to hit the trailer, so Dean got a jack out and managed to shift the front end over a bit. Now this was a little janky if you ask me, but hey, it worked. Now, if you wondered why one of us didn't just hop in and steer the thing out, well, it's because a number of years back, the keys got locked inside the car, so Dean grabbed a coat hanger and started trying to hook the lock on the door, but after several unsuccessful attempts, he switched over to a long stick, which proved to be the answer.
There we go.
Of course, all four of us were super curious to know if this car would start or not, so after a few minutes poking around it, we tossed a battery in, threw a boost pack on it, and hoped for the best. Sadly, the car didn't cooperate, but with the battery in, we did test out the pop-up headlights, which still work perfectly, and that's super cool. Now, before we got the car loaded on the trailer, I was able to take a few minutes and chat with Dean a little more about the car and about his history with it.
Did rally racing, off-road stuff, time attack racing,
Nice.
mainly dirt stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And it ran good for you?
oh hell yeah,
Yeah. That's what you do with a car.
it loves the dirt.
Yeah.
It sticks like glue because I've had WRXs and this thing kicked the crap out of them.
Oh yeah.
Well, after reminiscing about the good old days, it was time to get the car loaded on the trailer, and since we couldn't just drive it out, we had to tow it, which went fairly smoothly with the exception of the front driver's side wheel. A few short minutes later, and the car was all strapped down, and we also decided to throw a tarp over the front end to hopefully avoid all the spruce needles flying off and nailing cars behind it on the highway, and after a short 45-minute drive, the guys pulled into my yard and quickly got it unhooked. Now, after foolishly thinking we were going to be able to just push it into the studio, I hopped on my quad and pulled it in, which involved a little bit of back and forth to get it in the right spot. Now, before I can do any work on this car today, I need to get all these spruce needles sucked up with the vacuum, as pressure washing them would be a terrible idea. They'd end up all over the studio and turn into a wet mess, so I'll use my shop vac here, as the canister on my central vac wouldn't even be big enough to hold them all. I'm also going to go ahead right now and use the vacuum under the hood too, as it's full as well. And again, knowing I'll be cleaning under here in a bit, I want to make sure I've sucked up all the loose debris and cobwebs too.
believe it or not, but there was actually a weed growing out of the trunk jam here, which again just goes to show you that this car was sitting outside for a very long time. Alright, well with super embedded dirt like this on the paint, I'm starting with a pre-soak using my all-purpose cleaner diluted 4:1, which oddly enough revealed what looks like moss that's growing on the car. But anyways, I'll let that sit for a couple minutes and then hit it with the pressure washer. And if you're wondering why I'm starting with the exterior first, well, besides the fact that I always do it this way, I don't know whether the seals on this car will hold very well, so doing the exterior first ensures that I'm not messing up my work on the inside if water did get in. Now with the hood being as bad as it is, I decided to go the aggressive route and use degreaser on it instead, so I'll let that sit for a couple minutes to really penetrate all the dirt, and we'll then get to work blasting away all the grime, which is insanely satisfying. Even though the hood is looking pretty good, I'm going to repeat the process here as I can still see a little bit that didn't come off the first time. So because the car sat underneath those trees for so long, the crevices around all the doors and windows were completely full of spruce needles and other debris, so it's critical to get those areas sprayed out really well. Next step here is to chemically decontaminate the paint using some iron remover. So I'll get that sprayed on all over the car, and shockingly, there's basically no iron contamination, but it is turning purple in the rusted out spots as you'd expect. So when going through this car, I was pleasantly surprised to find the original floor mats, along with some original documentation that came with the car, but when I moved to the trunk, I was less happy. I found evidence that mice had taken up residence in this car at one point, so I'm hoping there aren't any nasty surprises in store for me later. thankfully the driver's seat cleaned up real nice, but this passenger seat isn't going to be so easy. It's pretty clear something was spilled in here, and when that happens, it's a lot more difficult to get the stain completely removed. What happens is that because it's soaked into the foam of the seat, as I make passes with the extractor, it looks clean for a minute, but then the stain wicks its way from down in the foam back to the surface. So having seen this happen a few times before, I know that I'll likely have to hit it with steam as well once it's a little bit drier. Okay, now to complete the decontamination of the paint, I'll use some clay bar, and as you can imagine, after sitting outside for more than a decade, the paint was incredibly dirty.
Hey, come on in, take a look at the car.
Oh wow.
Looks a little different, hey?
Holy. Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah.
Better than we thought.
Yeah, it turned out really good.
That's awesome.
Surprisingly, I didn't find any mice inside.
No.
I really thought I was going to, but did not. It's a little disappointed.
Oh wow.
A little better.
Yeah. We can get it running.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
It's a pretty cool car, right?
It's really like, it's unique, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't know what else at the time was made that's kind of like that, but
You got most of that stuff off though, hey?
yeah, I mean, remarkably, like it's in rough shape though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but it was embedded really bad. I guess you guys will have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
All right, well, you guys feel like doing some pushing?
Yeah.